In today's video, we're going to take a look at the Frankford Arsenal Platinum Series case trim and prep center and show you how it works. Stay tuned. Okay guys, welcome back to 243 Outdoors. My name is Josh. Today we thought we'd take a closer look at this case prep center and show it off. I've had it a little over a month now and I've trimmed quite a bit of brass on it, probably getting 300-400 pieces of brass I've trimmed on it. Got a pretty good idea of how it works, and I thought I would show you guys how to set it up and how to use it. So this is a 4-position case prep center with this position here to trim our brass. We have a chamfer, a deburr, and a primer pocket cleaning station. One neat thing about this is, as probably like me and a bunch of you have some of these little lineman hand tools laying around, and these actually unthread like so, and you can change these stations out. So we can take this primer pocket cleaner out and thread this in, same thread. So the brass we're going to be trimming today has already been cleaned. Primer pockets are cleaned. They've already been deburred, so it doesn't need that. But it's just another option. You don't have to really buy anything additional for this. It has the large and the small, and this chamfer and deburr that come with it. And then, like I said, if you have a crimp remover or a flash hole deburr, it'll screw right in. All right, one thing different about this case trimmer is that it measures off the shoulder. Other trimmers, such as this Lyman and the Lees are very similar, do it on an overall length using a pilot. Goes through, it bottoms out, and then the overall length is determined from the mouth to the head of the case. This is a little bit different. It actually measures from the shoulder. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to put a little collet that's going to line up about right here, and what we're actually measuring is from here to here. So one thing that's going to be very important is today is that we're using all the same head stamp brass. We're making sure that it's all been sized exactly the same, because if our head space measurement's just a little bit off, our overall length's going to be different. As long as you do consistent brass, consistent sizing and everything, it should be within 1/1000th or actually less. So I've had very good results with this. Just make sure your headspace measurement is consistent. Okay, on the top of the unit's a little tool storage unit, and it has all the accessories that comes with it. We have 6 case shoulder bushings, and it has a range from 17 caliber all the way up to 458. So this will actually trim a 17 Remington all the way up to 460 Weatherby Magnum. Nothing else is needed to buy. You also have case body collets, and we have 3 of these. The small ones for like 223s, the mediums for your medium cases, 243, 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, 30-06, and then we have our big one for the Magnum. So I'm going to show you what we need to do here to get this set up. So today we're going to be trimming some 6.5 Creedmoor, so we need to pick the correct case shoulder bushing and the body collet. So the body collet's going to be the middle one, which is this one here, and this one here aligns with the body and keeps everything straight. And the next thing we're going to need is the shoulder bushing. If we look on our little chart here, it shows that the 6.5 Creedmoor is 264 caliber, which is the second one. However, I've found that the third one is probably more realistic for this caliber. That's a guide, and you know, every caliber is going to be a little bit different. If we put this second bushing over the neck here, it rides pretty high on the shoulder, and we want it more in the middle. So if we pick this third one here, it sits really good in the middle, and we'll get a really good reading with that one. So these are the 2 we're going to use, so let's get them installed. So the first thing we're going to do is remove this knob here, and there is an O-ring that goes in it that kind of cushions itself, kind of dampens some vibration, so we'll set that in there. First thing we're going to do after that is to put this bushing inside here. We want the flat sticking out and the tapered side in. So we'll get that set in there. It might be handy to have a little pick or something to get it aligned. Okay, and then our little body bushing will sit on top of it, and it holds it square. So the next thing we're going to do is to thread this back on. And with that O-ring, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to get started, but there we got it. Go ahead and snug that lock ring down to hold it. And as we screw this in, what this is doing is squeezing on this collet, and we're going to take us a case and stick in here and see it's loose. So we're going to keep turning it until all the play's out of it. So something probably about like that will be good. Screw that out just a little bit. But yeah, so the shoulder is sticking through that bushing, and the case is in that body. So I like that. That's a pretty good place. Next thing we got to do is get our length adjusted. So we'll turn this sideways here, and let me pick the camera up. And you can see the case there is very close to the cutter. So what I usually like to do is just to thread it in until it touches, and then take a little test pass and measure it, and then see what we need. There are markings on this, and from like the 15 to the 20 is 5 thousandths, and the 15 to that middle line is 2.5 thousandths. So we got a little bit of a reference of how much we're cutting off here. So let's go ahead and adjust it. We're going to loosen this, and we're going to thread it this way. And I usually just turn it until I can feel it touch the cutter a little bit. And we're touching there, I think. Because we don't want to take too much off the start. Let's start about right there and tighten this down. Okay, so we're going to take a measurement of this case. Our trim length for 6.5 Creedmoor is 1.910, and this is within the range of 1.910 to 1.920. We're going to go ahead and back this down a couple thousandths and get probably about a 1.91211. I usually don't do it quite all the way to the bottom just for the variation, but we'll see what we can do here. I got the unit plugged in. We'll turn it on. Okay, and it didn't touch nothing, so we're going to loosen this, and I'm going to turn it till that 0 straight up. Still nothing. We'll do another 5 thousandths. And it's just trial and error basically until you get it. Okay. We've trimmed just a little bit there, which we don't need much, and we are at 1.9115. So I'm going to leave that. Let's take another in here, and this one's about the same length. And sometimes I turn it just a little bit to get a feel for it. I can feel that cutter cutting, and when it quits, and that gets us to 1.910.5. So the next thing we can do is chamfer our cases, and we just put very light pressure. We're just removing that little burr and run the chamfer over it. So it does a very good job. It's a very sharp cutter. It's a very clean line. And we'll go ahead and do this to the other one. But once you get it set up, it's just go as basically as fast as you can. Insert your case until you feel the cutter start engaging it, and when it quits, you're done. Chamfer, deburr. And then if you have dirty primer pockets, you can also do it. These are clean. They come out of the wet tumbler. So you can use this in different orientations. You can use it with this bracket. We can raise and lower it. We can make it different angles. We can actually cut it with it standing straight up like that, which sometimes I do that. And I always use a cookie sheet on the bottom to catch the shavings. If you get on Etsy or probably eBay, you can find some 3D printed trays that mount underneath here, and it'll catch your shavings. So that's something to think about, but an old cookie sheet works pretty good. So we got 8 more pieces of brass here, so we're going to trim them. I'm going to trim them without measuring them, and then when we get done, we'll measure it and see how consistent we are. So let's fire it up. And the 10th piece. Okay, so we ran through that pretty fast, 8 in a row, 10 total. So let's measure them. So here's our 10 pieces. Our calipers are zeroed out. 1.910, 1.911, 1.911, 1.910, 1.911, 1.915, 1.910, 1.911, 1.915, and 1.915. So we are, I think, 1,000th is the farthest apart. So very consistent results. This brass, like I said, really didn't need trimmed, but I wanted to show you guys today. And I usually keep it right around that minimum trim length, even if it just means trimming a couple thousandths off. And when you have a unit like this, it's not a big deal to run it through it. So I run 100 pieces of brass through this the other day, and it literally took no time, just shaving 3 or 4 thousandths off of it. And it's a pretty impressive unit. So I picked this up on Midway. I believe it was on sale for $152 about a month ago, and about a week after I bought it, they marked it down even more to $140. So keep your eye out on a deal. Like I said, I purchased this with my own money. It's not a paid advertisement, and I just wanted to show you guys how it works. So basically, each caliber works the same way. Find the correct bushing and the little body collet, and set it. So once you get it adjusted, you can leave it there. So this is set up for 6.5 Creedmoor, and we could just trim all day long. So that's going to wrap up today's video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll catch you next time.